Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. When will America ever stand up and resist all this? I mean, will it happen? Have we gone so far and we've become so soft, so complacent that we're just going to roll over and take it? Will we ever see Americans truly resisting? I mean, we're seeing it in other countries. We're seeing it in countries that most Americans would never think that we would ever see, these countries that have not been considered as free as we are, where people are actually standing up and resisting and protesting and even to the point of rioting and doing all sorts of things to resist the tyranny that they're facing. And yet here in America, where we have bragged for over 200 years about being the freest country on the planet, where we're the symbol of independence and freedom, for the most part, people are just kind of rolling over and taking it. And so it is a question to ask, and why is this not happening? And I want to get into that a little bit, and just some of my thoughts on this subject. Before I get started with that, though, I want to mention a company, a product that, I know, no one likes to have a sales pitch at them. But this is a company, I've mentioned it before. It is owned by a personal friend of ours, someone that has been watching and been part of this channel, and through this channel, my wife and I, especially my wife, have become friends with her and her family. And she has her own business, and some of you have already purchased products from her, and the feedback has been above excellent. And the name of the company is, I have to look at it, is Faith-Filled Essentials. And she makes handcrafted oils and soaps and creams and balms and bath stuff and all that kind of stuff. And it's real high quality stuff, all natural, all handcrafted. The packaging looks good. Puts a little handwritten note in it. I mean, it's small batch kind of stuff, right? And the thing is you're giving your money to a company, to a family that is like-minded. You're not supporting some socialist, woke agenda or anything like that. And she has products for both men and women. Right here, I'm holding a beard oil that she makes, and then a beard balm. So for those of us guys, I don't really use a lot of products in my beard. It's pretty much all natural, and every once in a while it starts to get a little dry, and so I add something to it. But I know some of you like using the stuff all the time, and for you women, there's a ton of all kinds of little hand creams and soaps and stuff, and my wife loves the stuff. I've looked at it, and even though some of it's not really my thing, it's really good quality stuff. There is a link down in the description below to take you over there to her website, Faith-Filled Essentials. Good quality stuff, and you're supporting another, like-minded individual that's a believer and that thinks like you do, and you're not throwing your money at some company that, they're using it to basically stab you in the back. So I just wanted to mention that. Recently, and this isn't just recently, this has been going on for months, but I'm telling you, I've been seeing some footage out of other countries, Germany, France, United Kingdom, other countries in Europe, Canada, even down in Australia, where people they're banding together and they're pushing back against the tyranny that's out there. This isn't about what science says or science doesn't say. This is about absolute tyranny, where they're telling people that you have to do something, whether you want to do it or not. It doesn't matter even if it's good for you. It could be really good for you. It could be that they could prove that with 100% certainty that it's completely, absolutely safe and it's 100% effective. It doesn't even matter that. That's not even the point. The point is that we should have control over what we do with our bodies. And even if we want to do something foolish, even if we want to do something that's dangerous, it's our bodies, and we should have the right to do that, regardless of what any kind of evidence shows. And the evidence doesn't really, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but the point is this is about freedom. And we are seeing countries all over the world, the people standing up and protesting against stuff. All kinds of tyranny. Tyranny from every different direction. People are standing up and they're fighting back. They're pushing back. They're saying, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to just roll over and let you control us. And yet here in America, a country that we have bragged, we've said we are that city on a hillside that shines that beacon of freedom around the world. Well, we're not really doing anything. People, for the most part, are just kind of taking it. I mean, they complain. We get online and we make little TikTok videos and little face space whatever videos and, tweets and stuff like that about how we're just so disgruntled with what's going on. We just don't like things the way they are. But we're not actually doing anything. And if you go back and you look at elections over the last few years, for the most part, in large mass, we're just re-electing the same people over and over again. So is America ever actually going to stand up? Is America ever going to fight back? Are the days that many of us have talked about, that there's going to come a day, well, Americans have had too much, and they're going to cross that line, and we're going to stand up and we're going to fight to take back our freedom. Has that day come and gone? Have we missed the mark? Have we done something wrong by making things too comfortable, making things too dangerous, making people too complacent, that's just never going to happen? Let me give you an analogy, and this is going to tick off a lot of people. I'm just going to be straight with you because I'm going to pick on one group of people. But I know that my listeners, in most part, you're not snowflakes. You're not that sensitive. You can take it. And I think most of you will probably agree with this. My wife is a Texan, and I have a lot of friends and family because of her and because of this channel, and just have known lots of people my whole life that are from Texas. And one thing that everybody on the planet knows about is that it doesn't take very long to find out if someone's from Texas. How long? Well, don't worry about it. They're going to let you know. They're going to let you know that they're from Texas and why they're from Texas, because Texas is the biggest and the best and the most freest and the coolest and the most awesome place on the planet. I mean, everybody knows that because every Texan tells them that. I am joking a little bit, but you all know what I'm talking about. Well, one of the things that Texans have bragged about is that their freedom. They love their guns. They love their God. They love, their individual rugged freedom, right? I mean, that's how it's always been. They were the one state that's been their own independent republic. They fought for that, and they won their independence as a state to become their own republic, their own country. And they became a state only through voluntary, means. It was agreed to through a treaty. So there's been a lot of that, and Texans have always bragged about their guns. In fact, it's become pop culture even. That, the going joke is that, everybody's got a gun in Texas, big deal, all that kind of stuff. Well, the truth is that up until really just this year, Texas's gun laws ranked somewhere in the middle, maybe even below the middle when it came to the states with the most free gun laws. And that's just one thing. You look at the voting record over the last 6 to 8 years, and Texas is slipping away from that really solid conservative side to where they're kind of getting into that purple middle. And most experts believe that in the next few election cycles, you could definitely see Texas flipping from being predominantly conservative to being a liberal state. It's already kind of getting into that moderate level. I understand. I'm not here knocking you Texans. You guys are amazing and awesome. And there are some of the most rebellious and independent-minded people that live in that state. But the fact is the state that you love and brag about isn't quite what you thought it used to be, thought it was. And the reason is, and this is my theory, the reason is because you guys have had it too good. You've been at the top for too long, and it created this complacency. And so when things came along through, whether it's your ballot box or government mandates or just government anything, people just kind of sat back and let it all happen because, well, it doesn't matter because Texas is the most free state there is. You know, when other states are passing constitutional carry laws, passing Second Amendment preservation acts, and doing things to really lock in protecting the Second Amendment or other, you know, constitutional conservative issues, Texas kind of sat back and said, we're already free. We're already the best. We don't really need that. And it's the people in Texas that were truly conservative kind of sat back and thought they could, you know, take a break. They could kind of set this one out because they were already at the top. And what happened was a bunch of liberals moved in, and a bunch of illegals moved in, and things changed. And I may be oversimplifying it a little bit, but I don't think I'm too far off the mark. So using that as an analogy, I think that that's what we've seen happen here in the United States for 250 years, pretty much. We've bragged about being rebellious, about rebelling against authority, about being rugged individualists, about having a constitution and protected rights, and that there are just some things the government just can't trample on with us. Why other countries, you know, they have to really fight for their rights. Ours, they're protected. And we're good. And no matter how big the government can be, it still can't pass those constitutional rights that are protected. It's still restrained by those things. And we sat back and we allowed life to be deemed not as important, and it's okay to take that away. We sat back and we watched them pass regulation after law and regulation and changing departmental policies to where firearms aren't quite as free as they used to be. There's not quite as many protections there. We watched them destroy the family and traditional values and marriage and the church over and over again. We allowed these ridiculous ideas creep up into our schools, into our colleges, to now where there's no public college, no public school, and probably no private school just about anymore that's truly a safe space for that traditional values. And we look around and we see a people that want to still beat their chests and brag that, oh, there's over 80 million gun owners. They can't ever take us. Oh, yeah, they can't do anything. And yet time and time again, when they do something, we back down. We back down. We back down. And here we are now living in a time that here in America, there are laws, mandates, rules, edicts, whatever you want to call them, that are being done on some, if not all people. People can't have their job, maybe. There's been people that's lost their jobs, been threatened that the only way to keep your job is to do what we tell you to do. People are being told in certain places in this country that you can't even go into a restaurant. You can't go into a place of business and just do simple business with them if you don't do what we tell you to do. This country is looking much, much less free, okay? Maybe we're not quite as bad as Germany. Maybe we're not quite as bad as Australia or even Canada or any place like that. But we're certainly headed down that road, folks. I mean, make no mistake about it. We may be a little bit behind some of those countries, but we're still trucking down that same road. And I've yet to see any people really stand up and say, not anymore. This is enough. You've crossed the line too many times. You know, I've said on this channel many times. I've said it in real life many times. You better decide right now what your actions are going to be when they cross that line that you have drawn in the sand. Because make no mistake about it, they will cross that line at some point. At some point, they're going to cross that line. They're going to step over that line that you have drawn in the sand, and you say, okay, this is the line. You're not going to come any closer. You're not going to take any more rights. This is the last straw. This is it. You're not going to do it anymore to me. You better make up your mind now what you're going to do when that time happens, because it will happen eventually. And it's happening over and over and over again, almost on a daily basis. And we still see nothing. We see no reaction, no real reaction. I mean, you see people occasionally standing out on the side of the street waving some sign. But in the end, they're all just kind of, they know, well, we can't get out of line because they're going to take us all to jail. We can't get out of line. They'll do all these things. I mean, the amount of psychological success that they have done regarding the whole people in Washington, D.C. back in January. I mean, most of those people are still in jail. A lot of them have been in solitary confinement for the most part. They've not had their day in court, most of them. It's been almost a year now. Some of the stories that's come out of those people that were at the Capitol building in January, it's pretty sad. And I think that's scared a lot of people off. Well, I've got a job. I mean, I got a retirement plan. I got a mortgage. I got a wife and kids. I got a boat I'm still paying for. I mean, I just bought a brand new truck last year. I mean, do you realize what would happen if I went out there and actually stood up against all this tyranny and got arrested and lost my job, couldn't pay for my bills? I mean, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's bad right now, but I mean, it's not that bad. Things are still mostly normal. I mean, I can probably tolerate it just a little bit longer. But eventually I'm going to stand up. Eventually. Our forefathers, they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, and fought the most powerful military on this planet. Ruthless military, for a whole lot less than what's going on right now. I mean, they fought them over a few taxes that they didn't like, you know, that they claimed that they needed a little bit more representation over some taxes that compared to today were actually kind of small. Have we lost that fight, that vigor, that grit as a people? It certainly seems like it. I mean, I'm preaching to myself as much as I'm preaching to any of you. Have we moved past that point that we're ever going to stand up and fight against this? I've been saying a lot here lately that if we don't do something soon, we're going to miss the opportunity to do anything, because the technology is getting to the point that we're not even going to get anything started without them knowing it. I mean, you go back to our founding fathers, you know, they were talking about stuff years before they ever actually took any actions, meeting in little pubs and homes and churches. And so they were able to formulate a plan and kind of figure out what they were going to do. And well, nowadays with all the technology, it's going to get to a point that you can't talk about anything without them knowing. And then what are you going to do? They'll shut it down before a rebellion ever gets started. Folks, we've become way too soft. I don't think we even have the right anymore as a people to call ourselves, you know, freedom fighters and, you know, rugged individualists and all about independence and freedom, when we're watching countries that are far more socialist than we are standing up and fighting for their freedoms, while we just kind of sit around and complain on Twitter about what the president and other people are doing. It's a sad time. It really is. Because the things that are happening right now, our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers and our forefathers would have never, ever allowed happen. Not one moment. There would have been rioting and bloodshed in the streets 100 years ago if our government tried to do stuff that they're doing right now to people. What have we done? What have we given up? We were handed the greatest nation this history has ever seen. And what have we done with it? Well, we've let it all blow away because we have a nice TV and a nice home and a nice truck to pay for, and we don't want to give up that retirement plan that we have. Folks, it's time that Americans start being American. It's time we start standing up and pushing back. If we don't, we've already lost. I mean, they've proven to us over and over again all over the world and here in the United States that they don't really care about your freedoms. It's all about their agenda. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next video.